Hey, hello, and welcome. I am Debbie Peterson of Getting to Clarity, and this is another episode of the Getting to Clarity podcast, where busy women leaders come to get the tips, tools, and techniques that they need from myself and my guests to create more success in their leadership with less sacrifice in their life. And today, I am really excited. I have with me Kelly Nagel. Kelly hails from Buffalo, and I'm going to share a little bit about her so that you can get to know her before we start our conversation. So first and foremost, Kelly is a mother, wife, and daughter and friend, and she is proud to be the president and GM of Jabra North America, which has awesome products. If you're not familiar with them, I hope that you are. And she is primarily responsible for the enterprise portion of the business. And she looks after the audio and video endpoints, such as speakerphones, headsets, video cameras. If you don't have one, check it out. All of which have become increasingly important in our post-pandemic world. So with all of this remote work, these are the products that help keep the wheels on the bus going round and round. Kelly, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Debbie. It's an honor to be with you today.
Of course. So Kelly and I have some really great conversations from time to time, and both of us are very passionate about women's careers, women in leadership, and we both spend a lot of time there from different vantage points. And I just wanted her to come and share her viewpoint about her version of success, because we had a fascinating conversation last week. And so, Kelly, where I'll start is, would you just share a little bit about your background and what it is that got you to where you are today?
Yeah, I do like to share a little bit about my background, going back to my schooling, because people don't know that I went to school for hotel restaurant management, where you hail from, Debbie, in Erie, Pennsylvania. So I went to Mercyhurst. It was college then, now university. So that's where I got my start. And there is this myth that you have to have a technology background or you have to code in order to get into IT. And that's not at all the case. So for me, I was in hotels working for 5 years, and I didn't love the 80 hours a week and for very little pay. And there was a job opening at Ingram Micro, which sounded pretty cool. They had neat new technology products. So I interviewed, and that's how I got my start in IT. And I've been here for 27 years. And been with GN Audio and Jabra for the last 7. So super excited to be, in this exciting time with the audio and video endpoints, that we're helping people do their job in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the remote work, when the pandemic came, everything turned on its head. And what an opportunity to have the ability to share those products and things like that. So I can imagine you were a pretty busy gal with all of this going on, in addition to everything else that you do. And of course, life is very important to you. So first and foremost, wife, daughter, mother, friend, the people that are in your life. So can you give me a little bit of the definition, let's say, of what success means to you?
Yeah, when I think about success, it's, for a lot of people, I always say it's not about title. It's not about where I am in the corporate ladder. It's really about what's important to you as an individual. And I think there's this, especially with the pandemic, it's really had people look at, how do I want to live? How do I want to balance everything? And where do I want to spend my time? And I have been able to do my job in addition to helping other women through the WIT network and through being one of the co-founders of the GN Audio and Hearing Women's Network. So I'm very passionate about helping move women forward who want to advance their career and aren't sure where to go and need a sponsor or a mentor to get there. So that's something that it was extremely important to me that I do that. And I'm really excited. Christine Bongard just asked me to join the board of advisors for the WIT network global. So I get to do that in an even greater impact. So that's really important to me is how do we change and get more diverse talent at the table to have more voices. And guess what? When you have diversity sitting at your table around the board or the leadership team, you get better results. It's proven. Look at any McKinsey study and any other study out there. It's not just about men and women, it's age, it's background, it's sexual orientation, it's race, everything. That's what gets us to a better result as a company.
Absolutely. And just to qualify for those not familiar, WIT Network, WIT, is Women in Technology. So primarily a male-dominated industry where women haven't had the opportunities to perform as much as they would want to in the industry. And so Women in Technology, if you are a woman in technology, take a look into it. See if there is a chapter in your area. They have them all over. And as Kelly just mentioned, now she is stepping on to the Global Council. So that is amazing. And I love that Christine has tapped you for that, because I think that will be just right up your alley, your sweet spot. So thanks for sharing that as well.
No problem.
So let me also ask you, you give your time and talents, you got a full-time job, you have people that are important to you. And what is it that you protect at all costs? Like, what is the line in the sand that I'm not going there?
Yeah, it's interesting that, a lot of people I've heard, especially with working from home, people could be sitting at their desk on video camera like we are today from, it could be as early as me sometimes at 3 in the morning, and it could people, as late as 9 o'clock at night. And for me, it's protecting my connection with my family, and especially when my husband works downstairs and I have a 20-year-old son who's home sometimes, at work sometimes, and sometimes on the ski slopes. But for me, it's having that connection with my family, and work and home are blending more than ever with the way we're working right now during this new normal. So for me, I protect that time. So I have check-in times with my family. I reconnect. I don't negotiate my lunch because I like to check in with the family, see what's happening, how are things. I sometimes post a schedule on my door. I share that with people. I said, my husband wants to know when I have a break, or my son, and I have it on my door so they know when they can talk to me, because I want to be accessible. And I'm not traveling for 2 years now. I haven't traveled almost 2 years, which is unusual for me. I was on a plane, 3 weeks or more a month. And I really want to take this time, and I have an aging parent. A lot of us are in that sandwich generation where we have children we're caring for, and aging parents. So for me, I'm an only child and she's a widow. So she's a priority for me too. So I always make sure, and finding a boss and a culture that helps you be the best you and be the best of who you are, not at work, not only at work, but who you are in your personal life, and balancing with work. That is key for me. And at Jabra and GN, we do that. And that's what our culture is, especially with parents who were teaching kids from home and trying to balance a job. I mean, we always said, someone posted, I saw on LinkedIn about stay-at-home mom, and a gentleman's like, I've worked from home for 2 years, and I see, he goes, she doesn't stay anywhere for 2 minutes. He goes, she's running after her 3 kids and she's managing this household. And he's like, I have a new appreciation for what she does every day. And I think it's actually, kids have become part of our Zoom calls or our Teams calls, animals. I mean, it became more humanized with each other. And I think people have become more real, talking about mental wellness, mental well-being. I mean, those are key topics. I always challenge my team, hey, let's do a walk and talk meeting. Like, we're going to get off camera and we're gonna walk outside or on your treadmill while we talk, because it's really important that we think about our bodies and our health at this time too. It's really key.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you mentioned be the best you. Finding a boss and a culture that helps you to be the best you, because we have a personal life, we have a professional life, but we're one person. Those are blended together. And I know I did a presentation earlier today and asking the women, how many of you work either part-time or full-time, and a bunch of women raised their hand, and it's like, okay, well, how many of you have young kids in the house? And some more were like, yeah. And how many of you have an older child in the house, aka a husband or a spouse? And they chuckled and they raised their hand. And how many of you have parents that you're taking care of, or are dealing with some sort of loss or trauma, get cancer, and still trying to keep it together and move forward? So there's a lot going on. And I know that that mental wellness conversation is something that is needed to happen for a while. and glad it is finally coming more to the forefront. I think it has a ways to go, but more to the forefront. And, I'm going to post my schedule on my door. I'd like that. Not from the perspective of, my husband will know when he can connect with me, but so he'll know when he can't open the door. Because that's
Exactly.
usually what it is.
Even though I have the thing doors, I have a sign on my door says meeting in progress, do not open. It doesn't necessarily happen that way.
Oh, no, it doesn't in my house. That is for sure. So Kelly, let me ask you lessons along the way. So you've been in this industry for a while. You've been in leadership positions. You've had an opportunity to look back, mentor others, support women along the way. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned along the way that you can share with the audience?
For me, I always said, raise your hand, make your intentions known. If you want to advance in the company, who do you tell? You tell your boss, maybe you tell your boss's boss. I mean, in one position that I was in, I actually went right up to the president and CEO, and he didn't know me. And I said, hello, Paul Bay, my name is Kelly Nagel, and I'm going to be your next sales director. And he's like, okay, Kelly Nagel. So I just made my intention to the president, the most senior person in North America. And guess what? Now I made a commitment, and I was going to hold myself accountable to getting to that position. So I always say, make your intentions known, and then how do you network? I'm huge on connecting with other professionals in the industry, whether they're in my own company, outside of the company, in other regions. People joke and said, I'm someone who lunches pre-pandemic. I'm someone who lunched probably several times a week with different people, or got together for drinks. But it was really important for me to keep my network open and to just hear things that are happening out there, or hear of opportunities. I mean, that's how I got to this position. It was having a drink with a former colleague. I had made a move from Ingram somewhere else, and it wasn't a good fit for me from a culture and a growth perspective. And I sat down with this person. I said, hey, do you know of anything that's open out there? And she's like, well, yeah, I know Jabra's hiring. So if it wasn't for connecting with that person, I would have never gotten to this opportunity. And I'm so thankful to her for getting me here.
And that's a really important point. And the same thing, just starting with someone that and, this is what I'm thinking about. You're not tapping into them and saying, okay, do you have a job for me? But it's just like, what do you know? Is there anything that you can share? People love to be helpful. And you'll be surprised at who you'll run into that will know someone else, and something comes of it. I've had a job happen that way. You've had a job happen that way. And the realization that where you were, that fit, it wasn't ideal. And so I need to, make a move. But it's an investment.
It is.
Your network. It's not a one and done.
You got to keep it going. You definitely have to keep that network going and moving, and keeping those people in. Sometimes it's just a quick text of, hey, thinking of you, can we connect for a 15-minute coffee? I mean, that's how I met Andrea Connor Stevenson, who introduced us to each other.
Yeah.
We were at a WIT network event in Kansas City, and we happened to be sitting next to each other, and they talked about virtual coffee. And I'm like, I haven't done that yet. And she said, would you like to have virtual coffee with me? And that's how Andrea and I started. We had a quick 15-minute coffee, and now here we are years later, and we're great friends. And she's a great resource for me, and an ally and connection, especially for helping women advance in their careers.
Absolutely.
Effect. I do think one last piece I will say is, I think advice is just be authentic and be you. It's really hard to be somebody else. And if where you are doesn't appreciate you, then there's other places that will. Because I always tell people, don't change who you are, because you're true to your core, and you can only be your best self if you are your authentic self.
Yes, absolutely. Agreed. I'm doing a keynote next week for Athena. And it's all about authenticity, and it's really going through the process to uncover what that is, because I think that for many years, women have felt that they needed to be someone else in order to get ahead. And that may have been true at one time, but I really don't believe that it's true any longer. And we have an opportunity to really contribute at a higher level by sharing our gifts with the organization, so that we can help shape the organization. Otherwise, the organization is shaping us. Right. So that I love that you said that as well. From a best practices standpoint, what are some of the things that you do, since you've got so much going on, that help keep you aligned, that keep you in that centered space, that allow you to perform at the level that you do?
I try not to overcommit. I think I shared with you when we talked a week or so ago. I think we've all grown accustomed to over committing and then sacrificing ourselves. And I think for me, I've actually we're calling it cancel culture in a different way. It's I made this commitment with you, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to decline because of just myself and protecting my wellness and the craziness that goes around us. And people, when I started doing this and I started suggesting it to others, people are like, oh my gosh, I just did this. And then it just trickles down. I mean, it was like we were supposed to go on a trip with some friends and I canceled out, said, it's just not a right time for me. And I explained why. And then my friend was still going to go. And she's like, I just can't do it health wise. And then the person who also was going, like, thank goodness you canceled. And I've done it twice now. And every single one, it's like someone's afraid to be the first one to say, I want to cancel. But we all have to protect ourselves and our health and wellness.
Yeah. And so the cancel culture, and if there's something that you committed to and you want to cancel, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do you, and you do what you need to do for you. And the people who love you the most are going to get it. The people that truly support you will get it. And I just think it's a great message to be able to send, because a lot of times we're like, oh, I don't want to disappoint anyone, and I don't want to step on anyone's toes, or doing the right thing. So I love that. The cancel culture, if you haven't tried it, make sure that you try it. And so Kelly, tell me, how can my listeners connect with you if they're curious about Jabra, if they are curious about the WIT network, whatever the case may be? How can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me, Kelly Nagel, Nagel. I always say so, Nagel like bagel, not much difference. Or in German, they say Nagel like nail. And then on Jabra, you can find us at www.jabra.com, and you'll find all of our latest and greatest products available. So connect with me. I respond to everybody. I'll take you in my network. And I think my last piece of advice to your listeners is, if you're looking for a mentor or looking to talk to someone, people are more available than they've ever been. So I'm happy to take a quick 15-minute virtual coffee, and get to know you. And if you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them at those times.
That's beautiful. And, especially today when people are zoomed out and things like that, just, 15 minutes connecting with someone and keeping your network fresh, checking back in with those people. So many pearls of wisdom. So, raising your hand and making your intentions known, investing in your network and connecting with people, being the authentic you. Don't change who you are for other people or your organization. And, lastly, best practice, the cancel culture. If it isn't working any longer, then go ahead and say no. So this was brilliant. And Kelly, I so appreciate you being here. Her LinkedIn connection, it'll be in the show notes, and as well as the link to Jabra as well. And so I have to ask you, because I am a fan of Jabra products, what's the latest and greatest? What's coming out?
Well, I am actually using our new P20 personal camera. It's fantastic. It's 90-degree, but very clear picture. You can do picture in picture. So if you want to, highlight something, you can actually have a little window like your TV does to showcase some product you're talking about or something new you're working on. So that's our newest, our new Elite 7 Pro is our new next generation true wireless product. We also have a line of Elite 3 and Elite 4 for maybe a little cost conscious folks, but and then our new Evolve 2 series, our Evolve 2 65 and 75 for the best wireless experience. So you can walk around your house, you can maybe check in on the dogs or the people on the first floor of your house like me, and be able to be mobile while you work. So check out our new products on jabra.com.
All right. And the link will be in the show notes. I'll tell you, they are the best electronic goodies. I just love them. And I can't wait to hear more about that camera. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Getting to Clarity podcast. Kelly, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And until the next time, here is wishing all of you the clarity that you deserve. Bye-bye for now. Take care.
Hi, thanks, Debbie.